I'm on to you, gamer sups. Adding the woman I have a crush on into my favorite type of game, a card game, and then making her an S-tier card? That was clearly meant as a personal attack on me and my financial stability.
Shut up and take my money!
If you're watching this, know I'm on to you. And in retaliation, I'm going to break your game and boost the skill level of everyone who views this video, so that the competitive scene is so popular and dynamic that you won't have the time to target me anymore. So, how do you play the game? First, let's just deal with a common misconception. You do not need to bet your cards to play this game. In an early version of the rules, betting your cards was mandatory, but now the how-to page on the website lists it as optional, so you're good on that fact. This game is both like the Pokemon TCG and Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels. Knowledge on them might help you understand the game, but is not necessary. There is also a how-to play page on the website, but I hope this section can serve those of you who are auditory learners are confused by the page. If not, skip to the next section of the video where I will share with you the secrets of being an amazing VCard player and what the best deck possible is currently. And guess what? It's not as simple as you might think. To start, there are 3 types of cards. Power level cards are the first. These cards are the ones you probably have seen most of. They're the ones with the VTubers on them. These are this game's equivalent of monsters, creatures, or Pokemon. Power level cards come in one of 5 types: fire, electric, water, grass, and platinum. Each type is strong against a type and weak against one other type. The cards list their strengths and weaknesses at the bottom of the card. For example, electric cards such as Sayu are weak to platinum and strong versus water. Power level cards come in 3 levels: 8, 9, and 10. Power level 8 cards have one of a small handful of effects known as talents. Power level 9 and 10 do not have talents, but make up for it with a higher power level. Power level works like an attack strength. 9 is stronger than 8, 10 is stronger than both of them. When a card has a type advantage, it gains +2 to its power level in the power phase. So a power level 8 electric like Sayu would beat a power level 9 water, but tie with a power level 10 water. Next, we have mascot cards. Mascot cards are each different VTuber's mascot. Playing a mascot card boosts the power level of your card for that round. Let's take a look at Cottontail's Fluffer as an example. If you play this electric mascot with any non-electric type power level card, it will boost it by +1. Any electric power level card that is not Cottontail will get +2. And if played with Cottontail herself, she will get a wonderful +3. Mascot cards have strengths and weaknesses. If you had a Fluffer on the field and another player plays a platinum mascot such as Chibi Lena, the Fluffer's effect on Cottontail's power level would be negated, and the Fluffer will be removed from the field. Last, we have support cards. These are your spell cards, sorceries, and trainer cards from other games. You play them to get unique effects. Some of them have powerful game-changing effects and shouldn't be discounted when building a deck. On the topic of building a deck, you need to have a minimum of 50 cards in a deck, and you can have only 4 copies of a card in your deck. This means you really can't make a single VTuber deck. You will at least need to add mascots to your deck from other VTubers. Otherwise, your 12 copies of Cottontail in various power levels will only have 4 Fluffers in a 50-card deck to support them. So, now you've got a deck. Congratulations. Let's start playing. The first phase of the game is setup. It happens only at the start of the game. Both decks are shuffled, and each player draws 7 cards. If you do not have a power level card in your hand, you can shuffle your hand back into your deck and draw a hand of 6 cards. If you still do not have a power level card in your hand, you lose the first round, but not the game. The first player to win 5 rounds wins the game. This returning of your hand, reshuffling, and redrawing is known as a mulligan. However, the mulligan is an optional rule. You and the other player may decide not to have the mulligan rule in place, and just have it that you lose the round. Or, if you're in a tournament, they may have their own unique rules on this matter. If this was not the start of the game, you would then have the maintenance phase in place of the setup phase, where both players draw until they have 5 cards in hand. If they have already 5, they don't draw any. Next, we have the power phase. Both players place 1 power card face down on the field. Then when both are placed, they are flipped up and revealed. You then compare the power levels and elements of the cards. The player whose power level is higher after factoring in elemental bonuses is deemed the leader for this round. If it's a tie, you rock, paper, scissors to decide who is the leader and who is the loser. The leader will place second in this round. Each round will consist of many turns, starting with the loser followed by the leader. Turns go back and forth until one player has no more cards they can play, or if a player's power level is stronger than the other player for more than 2 turns. The rules do not state they need to be consecutive, consecutive turns, so there can be disruptions without losing count of the number of turns you've won before the round ends. The next step is the battle phase. This is where your cards really get to shine. The loser of the power phase goes first and draws a card. They can play one mascot and one support, or pass their turn. The leader then draws a card and plays a support, mascot, or passes, just like the loser's turn. After their first turns, players do not draw any more cards unless a card that they activate states as such. Once the condition to end the battle phases are met, you enter the resolution phase. The player with the higher power level wins that round. All active cards are then removed from the field and sent to the discard pile. You then go back to the maintenance phase and start another round. To win, you need to win 5 rounds, as previously stated. The last thing to keep in mind is that the talents or effects of the 8 power level VTubers can only be used once per round, not turn, unless otherwise stated. However, there are no talents which state they can be played more than once a round currently. So keep an eye out for new sets of cards for talents that can be played more than once a round, as they could be game-changing. Okay, now you know how to play the game, so let's break it. When I first started reading all the cards, I was so excited. The art is so cool, cute, and sexy. But then I realized this game might have just been made to sell cards. Something many others have already assumed, but I've been so excited to play a high-level game with my Oshi as my ace card. However, while this game kind of feels like a little bit of a mess at first glance, I think I figured out the best possible deck with the current cards and the skills you need to focus on to turn an extremely competitive game with plenty of fun to be had. First off, let's weed out what cards are basically unplayable. Most of the 8 power cards are kind of trash, if I'm being honest. Any ability that only gives you a level 1 power bonus, under specific conditions even, should really never be played. If you want to play that VTuber in your deck, just use their 9 power, as it'll be just as powerful, but much more consistent. So, 8 power level cards that I put in the F tier would be the power level cards with the following effects: Cautious Step, Gentle Party, Calm Response, and Strong Stand. The talents I would label as C tier, meaning they're playable but hard to set up, is Echoing Power. While it is basically a +1, so you basically could just play a 9 power for better consistency, it does combo with a B tier talent, Delayed Reaction. While both of these are a +1, you can combo the Echoing Power to turn your Delayed Reaction VTuber into a 10 power. This is still not as good as just playing a 10 power, but it's usable. For A tier, there's one notable talent. Quick Glance lets you look at the top card of your deck and either return it to the top or put it back to the bottom. Playing this before using a draw card such as Happiness Chan will help give you a better chance at the cards you need to win. The one skill I would deem as S tier, and not just because my favorite VTuber has it, it's known as Small Bargain. This skill lets you discard one card to draw another card. This skill is especially powerful if you play more than one mascot type in your deck. If you have one that would be nullified by the other player, or need one that matches your VTuber's type, or even looking for a game-changing support card, being able to swap out one card at any point in the round is super strong. It also makes your deck more consistent, and can lead to explosive changes in the state of play. Also, you get to play with Cotton, which is a win in my books. The problem with talents, as it stands, is that some would be stronger if your VTuber could stay on the field between rounds, or if it could be used multiple times in a round. So in most cases, you should just play a 9 or 10 power in their place. Which leads to the next issue. This game was clearly designed around the ante. The reason to play 8 power cards that are just 9 powers sometimes, or even to play 9 power cards when you could just play 10 power, was so you don't lose your rare cards in the ante if you lose the game. With the rule being optional now, and doubtful anyone will use it, it would seem like most 9 and 8 power cards are kind of destined for the bulk bin at this point, never to be played. Or, so it would seem. I figured out the key piece to the metagame that 9 power cards fill. It's controlling turn order. You see, there's this wonderful card called Work-Life Balance. Let me read it to you. Choose one of the following effects. 1. Discard any number of cards from your hand. Gain +1 power level from each card discarded. 2. Shuffle your discard pile into your deck and draw a card. Do you see the line? Here, let's play it out. You play someone who is just using all 10 power cards, let's say, and then you flip up a 9 power card. So you're the loser. Oh no, boo-hoo. Now they can counter any mascot or support card you play. Psych, they're not getting a turn. You play Work-Life Balance. Dump your whole hand, and your 9 power VTuber goes up to 14. Turn 2, it's 12. Both are still higher than 10. And guess what? You're out of playable cards. And the rules state, players alternate turns, playing cards until one player has no more cards to play. the condition is already met of one player being out of cards to play. Round is over. You've just demolished a 10 power card with your 9, and the next turn, you get to draw back up to 5 cards, so no harm, no foul. You can even do this with an 8 power card, but playing 9 power cards does have its own advantages if you can game it outright. The greatest skill in this game is controlling advantage between support and mascot cards. Cards like Butcher's Blade, Cyanide and Happiness Chan, and Double Down can mean massive swings in power between turns. This is a game about mascots and supports, not really the power level cards. That's why 10 power cards are strong without any effects, because they don't really matter. They're just a starting number. But using power cards with high or low numbers to change if you're playing first or second based on your deck and the hand you have can mean massive shifts in the game, and allowing for a lot of variation in playstyle, even if 2 players have identical decks, as they figure out how to mind game and beat the other player with supports and mascot cards. To this end, there are some support cards which I would deem as S tier. To start, Work-Life Balance, as mentioned, can win you a game, or replenish your deck if you're out of combo pieces. Next, Cyanide and Happiness Chan. Happiness lets you draw 2 cards, Cyanide lets you discard 2 of your opponent's cards. They let you play both of them in one turn, not just a round. You can combo them back one after another, which can also force the end of a round. You could start by playing a mascot to depower the other player, boost your own, then play Happiness to draw 2 cards, and then play Cyanide to empty their hand and end the round. If you have a good hand size already, you might end up with more than 5 cards for the next round, and your opponent will have to still only draw back up to 5, giving you an advantage. The only other thing that I would consider an S tier card I actually initially dismissed. It's known as Exposed. This card lets you look at the other player's hand. Now, with my experience in Yugioh, I recognize that this probably was never going to see play. But in this game, it actually might. You now know every counter they have, if a win is possible, how many mascots they have, so you can hold them and play them when they've played theirs so you can counter them. This is powerful. However, not every deck will need it. It is an S tier card, but it's just a little bit above A tier, honestly. Since it could be S tier in a deck with cards like White Knight, Reaper, Doppelganger, basically a deck that is designed to be reactive and counter. There are also too many supports to go over in this video, but 2 cards that come in a variety of types are the Type Shield and Type Guardian cards. The Shield cards are type specific. You could run 1 or more, but that would need to be its own strategy, and you would need to hope that their support cards don't overwhelm you. So they are C tier at best. The Guardian cards are B tier, I'd say. You can at least plan for what types you have in your own deck, and you can use them to set yourself up for revenge wins next turn. But still, winning the current round is better than setting yourself up for the next win. This could be a good deck using Echoed Power to loop your effects better, but it's still not the best choice. Oh, and mascot cards are all kind of the same rank. The best one to play is the one that meshes with the VTubers you have in your deck, so matching both type and which VTuber it is. So what do I think is the best deck? Well, this of course needs more testing, and the metagame is going to evolve. My best bet is a hyper-aggressive deck with cards with Small Bargain and Quick Glance, along with 9 or 10 power level cards, supported by Work-Life Balance, Cyanide and Happiness, and possibly Butcher's Blade, along with a high number of relevant supports, consisting of power level cards of at least 2 types that cover each other's weaknesses. The deck I will be playing consists of power level 8 and 10 Cottotnailvas, as well as power level 8 and 9 Cinders and Tricky Wees. The power level 9 cards will give me more option for controlling turn order, while Small Bargain helps me set up for a very powerful 10 power Cotton. Additionally, playing 2 fires will lead the other player to prefer to play waters if they have multiple types in their deck, letting Cottontail run wild, or take wins where Cinder and Tricky would have struggled. I would also run a full set of Fluffers, Pyro Pups, and Tricky mascot cards. This also means that I can use Fluffers to counter any water mascots that the opponent uses to try and remove my fire mascots. I will need to see if I need to add other electric mascots to the deck, or even cut the number of Cinders and Pyro Pups I'm playing, and then run half Cinder, half Lucy Pyre engines. My deck will also be running Cyanide and Happiness, as well as Work-Life Balance, which will definitely be at 4 of, with the option of also adding Butcher's Blade if testing proves that to be worth it. This game has a lot of potential. It's in a messy state right now, but its potential is really clear if you look closely. If better talents were introduced and some were altered to let them activate multiple times around, the game would already be in a better place. So, gamer subs, Shy Lily, I broke your game. You better just put me in the game. Or are you too afraid to do it? Sure, I'm small, but I'm enough to break open this game. You need me. Put me in. I'm willing to help you make this game even better. But fair warning, you're gonna end up crowning me the queen of games. And you're gonna make more money than you know what to do with once people see how much potential this game has. Also, don't be cowards like them. Like, comment, subscribe, and check me out on Twitch. All actions will help push me into the face of VCard, GamerSubs, and Shy Lily, and they will know we all exist. Let's get me in this game as a team. You understand? You lovely, lovely viewers. I'll probably do hand cam openings of the packs at some point once I've got that all sorted out and the cards arrive. Keep an eye out for that, little stars.